evening, everyone. My name's Josh Detweiler. I'm the CEO of AppJaxx Consulting. Now, I had a great intro joke planned, but I just have to ask, has anyone else made this point in their life where you kind of thought you were the young person, and then the featured speaker before you realized that he could be your son? Anyone else ever had that happen? So we're going to skip right over the Rob Ford joke. I'm going to share with you a little bit about my journey from brick and mortar to success in the tech business and share 3 lessons along the way. First is to fail well. Second is to be data-driven. And third is to know what your investors want. So let me first tell you about how I got to sort of where I am from the brick and mortar space. So I started out, I bought my first company. I thought I was young, but apparently I was about the age of this young man before me. I bought a publishing company. Grew it well. We brought in angel investors, bought more publishing companies, eventually rolled them all together and sold them off to my competitor. After that, I went into finance with one other partner and a small office out in central Pennsylvania. We started a finance company. We merged, acquired a couple other firms, and we created a licensing program and expanded nationwide. We had offices from Pennsylvania to Texas to Hawaii. And then I sold that to my business partner. After that, I moved to Hawaii because it's there. And I bought a manufacturing company, grew it to be one of the largest multinational manufacturing firms of its kind. That's what I did in my 20s. So I'm sure many people would hear that and go, wow, that's probably the definition of success. That's like straight up. Well, the reality is, it's not at all. In fact, let me retell at least part of that story. The last story, which is my manufacturing firm. The reality is, it's true. I did sell it, at least part of it. But the whole story is that in 2008, we were devastated by the downturn. We were hit hard by international pressures. We had producers that were outproducing us at lower costs in China and Central and Latin America. And our business was nearly destroyed. So I went from being 28, owning a $1 million+ home, having my BMW, an Acura, and a pickup truck, because you just never know when you might need one, to losing everything financially. So what I learned is that it's important to fail well. The first thing is, don't be scared of failure. The reality is, pretty much everyone in this room's failed at something or another, I trust. And you may or not believe me, but the truth is you learn a heck of a lot more from failure than you do from success. Success is a terrible, terrible teacher. The second thing is I encourage you to always do a post-mortem on a failure, whether it's a business that lost money or a marketing campaign that didn't work. Figure out what didn't work, why didn't it work, and don't do it again. Finally is get back up. Most people believe that success looks like that. Success never looks like that. Success is peaks and valleys. In fact, the true definition of success is getting up just one more time than you were knocked down. So when I decided that it was time to rebuild my wealth and rebuild my career, I decided to do it in tech, because I did publishing and manufacturing and finance. There was pretty much nothing left. So I went into tech. And right out of that, I started with a company based in New Jersey as an intrapreneur, basically an entrepreneur in residence. I helped him build companies. We launched many companies quite successfully, some terribly not successfully. After that, I went to a company called Meet Me. Some of you may have heard of it. They sold for $100 million originally as My Yearbook and then merged into Meet Me. I was charged with the responsibility of expanding the company globally. We had 90 million users, almost all of them in the US and Latin America. So we did that. We launched apps all over the world, France, Italy, Germany. I created user acquisition programs that took us to #1 in multiple countries. But one day, I went into the CEO and said, Jeff Cook, I said, Jeff, how much are each of our users worth? He said, gave me a number. I said, how do you know that? He said, well, that's the data we've always used. I said, well, have you ever tried to figure it out? He said, yeah, but that's too damn hard, Josh. I said, well, let's do it. Let's try to figure it out. So we put together a team inside the company and spent 6 months creating algorithms and tracking systems to figure out what exactly every single user was worth. And once we did all that work, I took the list to him, and I said, Jeff, here you go. Here's what our users are worth. He looked at the numbers. He looked at me, and he goes, are you sure? And I said, yes, I'm quite sure. It's the data. That data forever changed the way that Meet Me approached the world because data became king. So lesson number 2 is be data-driven. First thing, as far as action plan goes, don't trust your gut. And I know that's terribly painful for many of you, but I assure you this, your gut may have gotten you to where you are today, but data is what will get you where you're going. Don't assume you know best. Don't assume that because you would take an action with an app or a website or a product that your users will too. Follow the data. Listen to user data when you're creating new parts to your product or cutting pieces out. Again, don't think you know best. Listen to your users and follow the data. So, when I get to the third lesson, after I left Meet Me, I went out on my own and I started helping local companies. I think I see a few of my clients here. Morgan, right back there, Milk Crate, probably one of the most dynamic CEOs in the city right now. She's awesome. I think we have maybe a CEO of Viewit around, Kevin Brophy. I think Seraphim might be represented here, but we've worked with a lot of companies here in the city. And I found one thing, everybody needs resources. But here's the great thing. We're in Philadelphia, right? You guys know how it is, right? You get a good idea, you get a pretty smile, and people just throw money at you, right? Has that been your? Not a single hand. Oh, right, because we're not in the valley, we're here. So I'm gonna leave you with one final point, and you'll probably forget everything else I said, but you won't forget this. I'm gonna tell you the secret of how to get funding in this city and in this region, and I've worked with companies all over, from here to New York City and beyond. It can best be defined as Biggie versus Tupac. Josh, I'll explain it to you later. It's East versus West, right? Who's everybody on the left coast? Who are all these investors? They're purists. They love your technology. They love what you're doing. They love where you're going. And what are the people here? They are businessmen. They do not care about you, nor your idea, nor your product, nor what you've built. They only care about how it's going to succeed. So, what does it mean to succeed in this space? Lesson number 3, it's pretty simple. You need to have users, and you need to have revenue. Now, it's okay. Some of you can have users first and then revenue. But if you haven't learned this already, you're going to learn really, really quick. There is no money to be had unless you've got some traction. So I encourage you all, as you're thinking about your products, and actually, Josh brought this up, and I think it was interesting, is you need to build your product, build it well. Importantly, think about how you're going to acquire your users. Have a plan in place for user acquisition. You don't need a big, blown marketing plan, but have a plan to get user acquisition. And by the way, this plan doesn't count. I got a great product. It's going to have viral spread because I have viral hooks in it. So I'm in position for my product to spread virally. Well, I humbly submit that's the same thing as going every Friday evening and picking up a lotto ticket. You are in position to win the lottery, that's true. But I've got some bad news. You're not going to win the lottery. So build your product well and build it with an emphasis on user acquisition. I have 45 seconds left. So I will close with an encouragement to all of you that's not very business related, but I think very important. And that is, it's Christmas. This is a Christmas party. I encourage all of you to align your time with your values, whatever they are. For me, it's faith in the Lord. This is about a season about celebrating his son who came to earth. For you, maybe it's the same. Maybe it's family. Maybe it's friends. Maybe it's your coworkers. Maybe it's your employees. But the important thing is align your time with your values. Because someday, I hope everyone in this room has their $100 million exit, but I promise you, you will not be remembered for that. You'll be remembered for the people that you impacted and the legacy that you built. So holistically, I encourage you, build your legacy fast because time's really short. Build your legacy big so that you're remembered. And as Dorothy's going to talk about, build your legacy well so that you're remembered forever. Thanks, and I'll take some questions. I can repeat the question. Oh, go ahead.
Did you buy a bigger house later?
I actually did. I had a lovely home in Hawaii that overlooked both the ocean and the mountains. I did finally, when I got back here, buy a bigger house eventually, yes. But that's not what's important. Any other questions? Go ahead. The manufacturing company that I owned was I also owed, that's true, was a niche juice manufacturing company. We manufactured a product called noni juice. We're the largest Hawaiian noni juice producer in the world. It was a nutraceutical that helps as a cancer-fighting drug. I feel like I'm already skirting a non-disclosure by what I've already said. Suffice it to say, the data produced a number that was not what the company expected, and it, again, significantly changed the way that we both approached user acquisition and product development. Go ahead. I'm definitely an East Coast person. I lived in Hawaii for a while, so I understand a little bit of the West Coast mentality, and I got to tell you this. They are lovely, wonderful people, but they're late for every single meeting. I couldn't get my employees to show up for work, and everything was slow. Any others? All right, thank you.